to? Because I said I
And
would be
we
on.
are live.
All
I'd like
right.
to welcome you to another episode of Heart to Heart with Bree. You may notice that we're on at 5. This is a special episode tonight, which I'm very excited about. And the topic is the commitment to the covenant, the collaborative book project. And my guests are Mr. Malcolm Hope and Minister Angela Hope. Welcome, guys. And I'll ask you to please introduce yourself to the viewers.
I'll let you go first.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Malcolm Hope, proud husband to this beautiful woman, Angela Anita Hope. She actually stole my heart before she knew it. And it's such a beautiful thing to have her in my life. I cherish her as my wife. And we are so wanting to share our experience with others and hoping that others will want to do the same for the sake of sometimes it's just a word of encouragement, you know. Um, I'm retired Navy, worked several jobs since then, and life is good. That's I just about what I can sum it up to. Life is good.
Awesome.
That's a blessing.
So, Bree, I am busy here trying to see if I can get my audience, if I can share this
Share it on.
broadcast with
Okay.
my audience. And I don't see it on your Facebook page yet. So I'm still waiting for it to
Okay,
come.
let me 1 second. I'll grab my phone and make sure because I'm seeing where it's on. So let me grab my phone real quick where I can
Okay.
share it. I will be able to share it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I just want to say to the audience, hello to you all. Because whether we're on Facebook or not just yet, this will be a broadcast that will be a replay. So thank you so much. We just, I'm so glad to be here. And I want to thank the beautiful host, Bree, for having us on
Yes.
today
Yes.
and giving us this opportunity to share our stories. And so I look forward to getting into it. My name is Angela Hope. I am the wife of Malcolm Hope. And I have a 30-year background as an executive assistant for many, many years, left that industry of entertainment, sports, and media. We relocated here to North Carolina. It'll be 20 years this month, but we've always continued to go back and forth to the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. And I've had an opportunity to do some amazing things over the last 20 years. We are grandparents of 9 lovely grandchildren all across the country.
Mhm.
They're everywhere. And as I stated, we do reside in here in North Carolina. I am a minister. I'm a wedding officiant. And I have the opportunity to serve in ministry. And I just want to take the time to thank you, Bree. I can get this forward to my audience now. I
Okay.
just want to take the time to say to my husband how much I appreciate and thank him for his support in love, in life, in ministry, and in business. He has always been my um, he's always been my supporter
Right
in
hand
the
man.
in the background. And so yeah, I thank God for that. So thank you so much again for having us today.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I'm so happy to have you back. And you mentioned earlier that it was about a year ago that you guys were on. And I tell you, your episode was well received. I've been wanting to have you guys back. And I can tell you that you helped me so much. There's another couple that I have on, Frank and Heather Anderson. You guys,
I've seen them.
both you couples are like, I'll put it like this. From your episodes, I learned to have a standard. I really came to the understanding that I did not have a standard before. And, I've really had to take a step back, do some self reflection. And I tell you, listening to couples like you has made such a change in my life. So I'm very excited about your book because I know you'll be helping married couples, but I do believe you'll be helping single women like myself and the single guys too. I won't leave them out.
Yep, that's so
We
true.
want to. We want to.
Well, I honestly believe you will. So I'll jump right into it. You know, I'm really excited about your book. And I will ask you, why did you decide on this project?
Well,
It was on your heart to begin with. It was on your heart.
so you know, in last year, you know, you and I have a friend that we both know, Joan T. Randall, is the
Yes.
founder and owner of Victorious You Press, an amazing publisher. And I have done a few anthologies over the course of a couple of years, and with other people, and also with her first. And I shared with her, I said, you know what, I think in 2024, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to do a memoir for different reasons, because my grandchildren are starting to get older. And if I can digress for a minute, people are leaving here like nobody's
Yeah.
business. You're here today and gone tomorrow. And one of the things that I want is to make sure that when that time comes for my life, that my children, my grandchildren, and my great grandchildren have a story to read about Grandma Hope. Or Jams, that's my grandmother's name. And so I said, I'm going to do my memoir, and I'm going to work with you all. Yes.
Yeah, you said your grandmother's name. Well,
Their grandmother's name. I would be the grandmother.
Your Jams.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm saying their grandmother, me.
Right.
I will be their grandmother, but I go by Jams.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just want everybody to understand that. Not her grandmother. Her.
I want them to know who their grandmother is,
Yes.
and their grandmother's story, which
Right.
is me.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
See, this is real live, guys. We're not on here all propped up like we're some, you know. So anyway, to your question, and I'm trying to get to your questions because they were so great, and I just thank you. Can we just give it up for the host? She was so prepared. I reached out to her on a dime, and she got that thing. She got that flyer. She turned it around. She sent me questions, and so just such a pro. So thank you.
Yes.
Well,
Back
you're welcome.
to what I was saying. And so I that was a prophetic word that I was going to do a book in 2024. Bree, what I didn't know is that, yes, it is 2024, but the Lord dropped in my spirit one day, and he spoke to me that I needed to do a book with couples. And I was like, okay. And the interesting part was I said yes to it right away because I'm in a wedding officiant space. And I've had the opportunity to sit with quite a few couples who are getting married. And let me just say to the audience, people are still in love. People are still getting married. Weddings are just going left and right. People are eloping, which is intimate weddings. People are getting together and saying, I do every day. Every day. People are still spending $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 having elaborate weddings. And I say that to say that love is still in the air.
Yes.
And so I said yes to the calling of doing the book and an anthology, a collaboration. And so I began to just break it down. I shared with our friend, Joan T. Randall, Victorious You, and she screamed. She thought, this is great. But I shared it with my husband, and he was all in. And so what we wanted to do, as the Lord unfolded, and it's like, okay, what I'm doing, to share other people's stories of their marriage, their love life, their finances, their faith, their family, and the fire being that they can't keep their hands off of each other, or the fire in arguing for the first 5 years of their marriage. And so this will be a collaboration for couples to come together to share their stories, that it would be a blessing for years to come for other couples. So that's the long, short version of why we're doing this collaboration.
Yeah.
And do you have anything to add to that, Malcolm?
Yeah, I pointed out initially that the Lord put it on my wife's heart. Therefore, I can't take credit for it, but I am proud to be a partner of it. It's one of the things that I think is important when you discuss marriage. There's more to it than just holding hands and skipping down the road singing la 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 la. There are other involvements. Individually, you have to think about what you're getting involved with.
Yes.
And I've said previously, get to know the person that you're going to marry before you get married to them. But even after that, there's still so many things that you have to learn, and those things that you will go through that you don't know you're going to go through it until you get there to go through it.
Yes.
So, it's like I said, a word of encouragement. It's hopefully an inspiration to people who are wanting to get married.
Yes.
To know, there, like my wife said, love is still in the air, but behind the love is reality.
Yes. That is the truth. And I have to tell you, I love the title, Commitment to the Covenant. So I'll ask you both to break it down for us. Please remind us of what a covenant is.
Sure. So I'll start off with, and I'm not going to go all in depth and deep, but basically a covenant is simply an agreement. And my husband and I were having that conversation earlier, and we could get really, really biblical, and we can talk about the in depth of what all of that means about the God and the church, and then the church, God being the head of the church, and am I saying that right? And then he's the head of the man, the husband.
Yeah.
And then
love your wife.
And then love your wife. And we can go into all of those scriptures. And I can honestly say I didn't come with that. And there's a reason why. Because I do want people to join us for the interest call, because we will have a dynamic speaker there on that call, that even if you choose not to partner with us on the collaboration, that you're going to walk away with so much about understanding what the covenant really, really means. But it is simply an agreement. Mm-hmm. And again, when I meet you, when boy meets girl and girl meets boy, and we can't keep our hands off of each other, and we really like each other, and we vibing, as the world says, and there's chemistry, and we feel like, this might be it. When we decide to make that decision, I want to be with you for ever after, and we want to get married. We lose sight on the agreement and what that means. Yes. And we can jump the broom, we can light candles, we can exchange plants and pour sand. And I'm speaking from a wedding officiant, because there's so many ceremonial acts now with marriage. But do we really talk about the agreement that I agree to be with you through the thick and the thin? Sometimes it's more thin than thick. Yeah. That I agree with you. I agree to be with you through the tough times, through the good times. So many couples now are eliminating the death do us part, or through sickness. They're taking all of that out, because the agreement that, when it gets hard, I might not stick around.
Yeah.
And so we give each other an out, that we'll do this thing as long as it's good. But when it's not good anymore, and, we not vibing anymore, and you're not making this, or I'm not making this, or this is not happening, then there's really no agreement. But the covenant is an agreement. Yeah. That we agree to be together, whether we've made a bad choice about the person we're to be with, or a good choice. We agree. Yeah. That no matter what, we're gonna be committed to the agreement, to the covenant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, if I may inject a thought, I must say my wife stole all my fancy words. She said everything that I wanted to say. But in addition to that, you know, it's it's an agreement. 100% it's an agreement. But the agreement requires each of you individually to bring your part to the agreement. You
Yes.
know, you really have to understand what you're agreeing to. You're
That's
making a
good.
commitment. You want to say, you know, from yourself, I'm willing to give you 100% of me
That's good.
in exchange for yourself, you know, but giving you that 100% of me is understanding that I have to compromise. I have to give of myself to allow you to be yourself. And if we both agree to allow ourselves to be our individual selves, there's no fight, there's no resistance, there's no friction. It's like, you know, you accept the person for being who they are.
Yeah.
So when you agree to come together, yeah, this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I will tell you up front, I've told this woman 1,000 times, all I want is you to be yourself. If you have the freedom to be yourself, there's no ball and chain, there's no I'm restricted. And a lot of times I hear people say, I got to get home to my husband. I got to get home to my wife. And I got to, it's almost like you're, you know, you're trapped in a clause type agreement. I don't agree with that. You should have the liberty and freedom to be yourself and bring that to each other.
Yes.
And from a man's perspective, individually, I want to present my best, not just in the beginning, which a lot of people do. They put their best foot forward in the beginning.
That's true. And their representative.
Yeah, but then afterwards, it's like, you know, I got you now. I'm not that person. I want to give her my best here on out until I die at the age of 19.
And I want to give my best. And having said that, Michael, which brings us to that we have to do the work.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that being who we are, there's some work that needs to be done.
Yes.
We both come from different corners of the world for whatever the reasons.
Mhm.
I came from a big family of 20, and I'm just giving a illustration. You may have been the only child. So when we are now in a household together and all my 50 cousins and sisters and brothers are coming in the house, that may be a little bit to that person that we married, like, wait a minute, I'm an only child and I was raised by my dad, or I was raised by my mom. And I can't bust in and say, well, I got a big family and we, you know, that's where the compromise. It's like, wait a minute, that's where we have to do the work and say, you know what? I have to assess my husband or wife did not have this type of all these folks. I heard Erica Campbell, the gospel artist, and she was sharing that she and her husband had that challenge because, you know, she got 50 million sisters, and he was actually raised by his mother, I think, as an only child. He may have brothers, but she shared that how she had to like step back and do the work because Tina and all the kids, it was a house full of kids, and Warren was not accustomed to that.
Right.
And so just an example. So when my husband says, be who you are, yes, be who you are, but we have to do the work in the compromising that we both can manage. Well, my family's not going to come over every Sunday now, all 50 of them. And I have to be okay with communicating that to my family. And you're not going to disrespect my husband or my wife because I stand up and say, hey, that's a little too much for our marriage.
Yes. Yes. I mean, compromise is so important. And, you know, I'd like, because, you know, you touched on it early, Malcolm, when, you know, what I have found is there's an old saying that if it's too good to be true, if something appears to be too good to be true, then and I'm telling you, sometimes we meet as a woman, I can tell you, you meet these guys and they're so wonderful in the beginning, and you just can't believe, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've met someone that's so wonderful. But then within a month,
You got a
that
black eye.
person disappears. It's like, who are you? And it's
Yeah.
to be honest, we're thinking, because I do think quite often we sell ourselves short. We want to get married so badly, or we want to be in a relationship so badly that we're willing to overlook things that they're red flags.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
red flags, and we're really,
Yes.
I want to be married so badly, I'm gonna, overlook that. But I think if a man is committed to the covenant, and vice versa for the woman, then I think there is a hope for a successful marriage. I think we have so many divorces because we're not really
Looking at
grasping
the
the
agreement.
concept of right, and what marriage really is, because it's
Yeah.
a commitment not just to the spouses but also to God. And I
Yeah.
think that too often we forget that we're looking forward to that day where we're wearing the fancy dress, the nice party, the honeymoon, but we're not looking long term. We're not looking at the big picture. What's your opinion on that?
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. I mean,
I'd like both of your opinions on that.
yeah. To begin with, Bree, no matter who you are, where you're from, why you're there, all of that plays a role. But no matter who, the very first person that you have to love first is God.
Yes.
You have to love God first. And when you meet someone that can both bring that to the relationship, God plays he's the glue.
Yes.
He's the peacekeeper, he's the love maker. He is everything that you need. If I really want this woman, my first thing is give her to God.
Yes.
Give her to God. If she is for me, God will give her back to me. If you don't, excuse me, if you don't put God first, you're really going out into a safari with no protection, no guidance. You just out there hoping that you survive. But when you put God first, that's most important. And if you both understand that, you really can put things together, good. I would not want to be out in a safari with no protection, no means of, guidance, nothing like that. You might get eaten alive.
True.
So God has to be first. Then you gotta love yourself.
Definitely.
You really need to love yourself. How can you expect someone else to love you when you haven't learned to love yourself? You don't want to come to a relationship bitter, mean, ugly, and expect someone to love you.
But that's sometimes where you don't even know that you're mean and bitter and you're bringing baggage. And that's why I say it's important that, when we're in we don't come to a marriage as two perfect people.
Right.
And a lot of times we have done some of the work, but it really takes the other person that you connect with to show you how much more work you do need.
Mm-hmm.
I heard someone to say today that the more that two people are together, the more that they're alike, and that association brings about what was the word? Brings about simulation. Meaning, as you are together more and more, you become one.
Yes.
And that's where the scripture talks about. And I want to apologize to the audience for not having scripture. And when I say I apologize, because people want to know, well, where is that in the Bible? And I want that. I want married couples to join us for the interest call. And that's why we're here, because while I would love for when you come to the interest call that there will be things said that you at married couples would want, and I wish that I could invite, um, singles as well. But the book will be for both,
Everybody.
everyone. But
Yeah.
My point is that the more you're together, the more you become alike.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. See, you point out a major factor there that when you're together like that, the togetherness helps each other. Let me just say, when I got out of the military, I was still folding my t-shirts, folding my underwear. Socks had to be exactly aligned, everything perfectly. My wife taught me how to lighten up.
Yes.
Don't be so tight, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't going to compete with that. I wasn't going to come in and try to fold, and I wasn't, and he didn't expect that. So those are two things now. Now the t-shirts get thrown in the drawer.
As long as they're clean.
20 years
Right.
later. And
As long as they're clean.
Yeah.
Dorcia Reed is saying self-love is so important. And I'd really like us to dig a little deeper as far as self-love is concerned, because I think we have too many broken people who don't really love themselves, but they're expecting someone else to love them, like you said earlier, and fill that hole in the soul that only God can fill. So I'd really like you to drive that point across, because it's something that took me a long time to learn. As my relationship with the Lord, and I talk about this all the time, as it became more intimate and I really understood the love of God and felt it, it changed how I saw myself, because like I said earlier, I did not have that standard for myself. And now I have enough love because of the love of God. I love myself in a whole new way. So I'm no longer willing to accept breadcrumbs. I'm no longer willing to settle for less. I would rather be alone. It's not the end of the world to be in my bed alone, because I have love for myself. I no longer connect sex with love, because you can have sex and there's no love involved. And how long does it take many of us to learn this? So I would really like you to drive that point across, because I think there's a lot of young men out there, a lot of young women, if they really had this understanding of themselves from earlier on, I think there would be, we would not be getting in all these entanglements, for lack of a better word. But I think we make a lot of poor choices because we do not love ourselves enough, and that peer pressure. Well, all of my friends have a boyfriend. I don't want to be the only one, or I don't want to be the only girl that's not having sex because all my friends are having sex. Having that self-esteem to stand up and say, this is what I want. This is what I expect. And if you can't give it to me, that's okay. We can still be cool, but guess what? I'm moving on. I would like you to elaborate on that.
And I'm gonna let you elaborate on that. But Bree, I would just like to say you teaching and you have done the work.
Yes.
And I would like to say to you that I love what you're saying and how soft you are about it. You're a very, very soft woman. Mike and I were having that conversation, and I was sharing with him because oftentimes I hear women say, I don't want no man. I've been divorced and I don't need a man, and I don't want a man. I'm good. I don't have to say that. And I don't have to, I don't have to have that no more. And that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
And because I was that woman in terms of, I wasn't looking for a man. I wasn't looking for a husband. But I think sometimes when we say that, it's almost like a bitterness with it. And so let me just say to you, you just explained it in such a sweet, loving way that you have done the work, that even though I desire to have someone in my life, if I don't, I'm okay. And I've done the work. And I just wanted to give you, because I hear that often, don't need no man, don't want no man, I'm good. And it's just the way I hear women even say that, it's like,
you know what? Sometimes what I have found, is that when women say that, that's not really what they mean. You know, I think in many cases it's like it's a giving up. But what I have learned is that at the end of the day, because I think we can get so caught up in toxic relationships, especially for us as women, where we don't realize it, but masculine energy has taken over. You know, I used to read about this feminine energy, masculine energy, and I was like, what the heck are they talking about? But now I get it. You
Yeah.
know, now I get it. I
And
don't
you're
have
a
to be
very
harsh.
soft, beautiful woman.
I
Yeah.
don't have to be harsh. I don't have to try to be a man. I don't have to, you know, try to compete with a man, you know, because when I was married, I found myself at such a point of anger and bitterness and all of that. It took over who I really was. And I lost myself in all of that. But
Yeah.
putting in the work, it reminded me of who I am. And
Yeah.
being loud and being
Yeah.
it's not proving anything at the end of the
Yeah.
day. You
Yeah.
know, I can embrace my true self once again. And,
Yes.
you know, I've learned to be patient and I've learned to be kind to myself because for a long
Yes.
time I wasn't kind to myself
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I felt that I didn't measure up. And I know a lot of women struggle with that. They may not admit it, but you know, am I beautiful enough? Am I successful enough? Why is it that I'm always being rejected? Or why is it I'm not being treated in a certain way? When it's like, to me, I can, you know, if I want to go on a trip, then I'll work it out for myself. I don't have to be married in order to have these
That's
things.
right. And when you're in a when you're in a marriage, if you have that same, that's what we were talking about, being individuals in a marriage.
Yes.
I can say to my husband, "Hey, I'm going with my girlfriends. I'm going to do such and such, such and such, such and such," and it's like, you
It's
know,
Have fun.
fine.
Have
live
fun.
life, have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
isn't that because you're both secure within yourselves and
Very
secure
much.
within each other as a
Yeah.
couple? So then it's like what you said earlier, like you don't feel like, oh, let me hurry home to my husband or let me hurry home to my wife, because there are consequences if you're home after a certain time because of a lack of trust. You
Mhm.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you have to say about that?
yeah, I know you were going to
Well,
say something about the I know we just talked. I love this dialogue and talking.
uh-huh.
I love it. I love it. You were saying about doing the self love
Mhm.
and
Yes.
what that
Mhm.
means to you.
Well, let me just say, as an individual, loving God first,
Yes.
I am truly grateful for every day, and I thank the Lord every day that I'm able to stand. He allows me to breathe His air, and I have my health. I know my name. I mean, the condition that I'm in, I'm truly grateful for. It means a lot to me as an individual. But then, loving yourself is important.
In what way? Getting rest, doing the work. If so, let me just say this. Sometimes we come from broken homes, fatherless sons
Mm,
or fatherless daughters,
yeah,
and just abuse, sexual abuse or physical
Yes.
abuse. Sometimes we have come church hurt, grew up in church all
mhm,
our lives and didn't
mhm,
know nothing until we got in the big world. So we all come from different parts of the world.
yeah,
So doing self love is really, I would say, looking within and say, why am I angry? Why am I broken? Why am
yeah,
I hurt? If it
yeah,
means therapy, if it means, it's so much now that we can tap into. So I
Yes.
understand that the question, but your self-love may look different from someone
mhm.
else's. So
Yes.
asking, like, what do you mean when you say self, love yourself first? What does that mean
Yeah.
to you?
Well, everything that you just said is a point that I would want to reiterate. But in addition, let me just make a long story super short. 3 words. My father was not in my life. I knew who he was, but he was not in my life. But my mom used to teach me certain things like don't let stress penetrate. Don't let stress get you. If I elaborated my life on the lack of my father or what he didn't do or we didn't do these things and he never taught me to be a man, all that can lead to depression. It can lead to carrying that on into a relationship. And if you had children, you could be guilty of doing the same thing. But I've always had a teacher say, everyone will teach you something, even if they teach you what not to be.
Yes.
And I refused to bring that into my life. As a grown man, I learned, why things were what they were. But you have to be grateful for your health. You have to love yourself. You have to appreciate life. You only get to do this one time. So if you
Yes.
can get it into your head that, why be here if you're not going to be happy being here? You gotta enjoy life. And if you go through life miserable, you're wasting it. You're
Yes.
truly wasting it, and as far as the pursuit of a mate, you can feel, man or woman, but I emphasize the woman part. You can feel when a man really wants you because you see and feel the pursuit. If you're in a relationship or you're friends and you want to get together and you stop feeling the pursuit, then it's time to kind of like slow yourself down
Yes.
and wonder, whoa, am I, excuse my term, booty call? Am I just a booty call, or is
Yeah.
this person serious?
Yeah.
And if you are looking for a relationship, you want it to be genuine, not just, categorized. Like I said, I'm sorry, it's a booty call. But you also want to be attentive. You pointed out a lot of red flags in a situation. Watch for danger. When you see danger, turn around, go back the other way.
Yes.
And not try to justify it.
Yeah. Don't allow yourself to say, oh, he'll get better or he will change or he will do this. You can't marry a donkey and think it's going to be a stallion.
Yep.
You don't change them. You don't.
Michael, we're on.
Well, I'm just being real. Forgive me.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. I like that.
So when you don't feel the pursuit anymore, it's time to slow down and ask questions of yourself, and don't allow yourself to go down those roads to where you feel like you're being used or put in a situation where it's dangerous. So, if you love you first, hold your standard, keep your head up high and know what you're worth.
And I would say if it's too much pursuit,
Yes.
then, you said that earlier. If it's too much pursuit, you want to, well, why me? Why, why
Yeah.
why are we so hot and heavy and so fast? And so, and again, if it's been 2 months that we've been seeing each other and I still can't call you at, 9 o'clock, from 9 to
Yeah.
9 in the morning, you disappear.
Red flag. Red flag.
And we've been seeing each other and I only see you come over Saturday from 3 to 5, or we go out for,
Common sense. Use common sense.
It's true. I think a book with all this information will be such a blessing to married couples as well as singles. So I would like to ask you, what would you say to the couples out there who may be contemplating, maybe I'd like to be a part of this project, but I'm not sure if our marriage really measure up, would anyone really want to know about our story? What would you like to say?
Life experiences. Everyone has something to share. But what we're looking for more so are the people that learn how to overcome those obstacles, be it within yourself, be it within your marriage, however you have to go about it. We want people to be able to share their story and hopefully have, the best outcome after going through whatever experiences that they went through.
Yeah,
You know.
so the book is commitment to the covenant, how couples learn how to ignite each other's fire.
Mhm.
That's the full title of the book. It is so long, so I haven't put that, well, that part is out there.
Right.
But that's what you'll learn in the interest call as well. But the title of the book is Committed to the Covenant: How Couples Learned How to Ignite Each Other's Fire. And basically meaning that through all the situations and circumstances that you've gone through in your first 5 years, your first 3 years, or your first 27 or 28 years, tell a story. You can tell your love story.
Mhm.
Yes.
13
Mhm.
couples will have all different take on sharing their story.
Mhm.
From, as I said, from faith to finances to family to fire. Those will be the
Yes.
subject matters in for each category within this collaboration. And so, we're looking for um, couples who are willing to share their story,
Mhm.
looking to invest in themselves, that they would be a blessing for many years to come, that this could possibly be for them. If they so choose to, this book can be a business. And our publisher talks about book to business, how
Yes.
this would bring additional income into their home.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
allow them to have speaking engagements if they so choose to utilize
Yes.
it in their church and church groups for singles, for married people, for both. Use this as a stepping stone to create a marriage conference or even a singles conference. There is
Yes.
so much
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is involved in being a author. We're guaranteed that you'll be a best-selling author.
I was
And
about to say you are a best-selling. You're a
yes,
best-selling author.
three-time
Mhm.
best-selling author and international author as well. So there's so much that if you're just willing to, for you and your, I think I said in one of some content in my on my social media page, is that how beautiful would it be for a couple to write their story together and have a chapter in the commitment to the covenant, sitting down and writing. Mike and I have not even decided yet ourselves, what story are we going to tell? What
Right.
is God going to give us that's going to be a blessing to many couples and many single persons? So that's what we're looking for. Couples who are willing to share their story and also willing to make that investment in their self and to have a broad mindset to see how that they can leverage this book
Mhm.
to do so many
Mhm.
wonderful things with.
I could see the potential for the couples that participate. I mean, when you think of what social media, what social media could do for a project like this, and being able to do public speaking engagements and to, I think it's a great tool for couples who are struggling. I
Mhm.
think, church groups, as you mentioned earlier, I remember, well, I ended up getting divorced, but the book was helpful. And I did learn the book, Love and Respect. I learned a great deal from that book. We did it as a group in church. So I think a book like this will be a valuable tool for church groups in so many different forums.
Mhm.
Yes. I'm trying to get the registration link that you'll be able to share with your
Okay, yeah,
audience.
I would definitely do. I'd like to say hello to Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. What would you say to the couples
Thank
who
you,
feel
Andrew.
like, you know what, I'm not the best writer, or I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't know how to get the words out? What would you say to them for
What I
encouragement?
would say to them is that being on this interest call is going to be fabulous, because we will have the publisher, we'll have the I believe is the operations director with Victorious Youth Press. The presentation, this is the second interest call, and the presentation that Victorious You does, Joan T. Randall, will lay everything out from nuts to bolts, everything from the beginning to the end. And that's what we talk about in the interest call, that we will be holding your hand the entire time. And there are going to be so many opportunities and I won't say workshops that will be able to help you with writing your story. There will be editors. I mean, this is that's why the interest call is so important. There will be my pastor, Juanita Corey Jackson, who will also elaborate and share about the covenant and the agreement. She's going to talk about that. Bree, I might just invite you. I just love you. You just have such a beautiful spirit. You really, really do. I just feel led to invite you. I just really do. And then I'm probably going to open up. Well, I'm single. I want to come. I want to learn. We'll do a volume 2. And we'll open that up to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the reason why we're here on your platform today is to talk about joining us for the interest call coming up March 16th at 10 a.m. There is registration. It is free. It's just an hour of your time. What I wanted to go back to say is my pastor, Juanita Corey Jackson, did a phenomenal series back in the early part of the winter or the latter part of fall. And she did an amazing outline of the commitment in a marriage and just breaking it down biblical. And even the fact that we've been married for so long, we were like, wow, we didn't even think about that, or we didn't realize that. And it was right there in the Bible. Just, it's not going to be what you think. And I'm talking to your audience that it's not going to be what you think. And so we've got this will be a great interest call for our married couples. And if you decide that you can't, you're not interested in the partnering with us and don't want to make that investment for whatever the reason may be, you're still going to walk away from this interest call learning so much about book to business, about to just better your marriage. Bree, let me just say that doing the numbers for this book and what's going to be involved, the only thing that's going to come from it is just blessings. This is not about making money. We're offering for the book signing that the couples that will invest in this, we're going to have a beautiful luncheon for them. That's all going to be included in the investment. It's so much that we're just giving, that God has just given us to just give. It's unprecedented what the cost would be. And that's what the publisher will talk about, that what the cost is and what the cost will be to be a part of this. It's really a steal to share your story and to have a book and to walk away being a best-selling author.
Yeah, I mean,
it's phenomenal.
You can't ask for more than that. And I would like to say that Angela is someone that I know. Joan T. Randall, went to high school with her. She's my friend. I would not have them on this platform if I did not believe in their project.
No. It's absurd. I'm so sorry. I looks like we're my laptop is not plugged up. Thank you for that. Yes, I'm glad you're sharing that.
No, I definitely I believe in this project. And like I said, because you hear people with things like this all the time. And, I would not endorse this if I did not believe in your project. So I had to put this out. I had to say that for the viewers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I think I'm putting the information in your I'm putting the information and
Okay,
where
I
to
see it. I see it. I see
and
it.
where to register. And it's a real simple
This
that it is, honey. Thank you. I'm so sorry. There you
No,
go.
that's okay. Hey, listen, things happen. What would you say to those who think my story is not that interesting? I mean,
Oh,
what would you say
I
to
would
that?
so I would say if you've been married for any length of time, you've got an interesting story.
Yes,
there
yes.
you have. Let me tell you, when my husband and I got married, our first big fight, and we were just once we discovered that we like, wow, this is because we have a. I was even thinking about what our title would be, and I was thinking about it's complicated. I'm just now telling you that, and I was thinking, oh, it's complicated. Um, because we were both in church. We both have been in previous marriages. And there's a twist to us meeting and knowing each other. And I know this is on Facebook, but I actually knew his wife before I knew him.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
And so
ex-wife.
his ex-wife before I even knew him. And so I say that every marriage, to your question and to that couple, if you've been married for any length of time, you have a story. And that's why there are multiple categories: fire, faith, finances, and family. So you fit in one of those
One of those
categories.
categories, one,
And,
at
and
least
and
one.
we had a fun, not had, but in the beginning of our relationship, it's beautiful now. It's seasoned and it's beautiful. But before, when we first met each other and we got to know each other and we got married, it was just beautiful in every way. And our first argument, it was a horrific argument, and it was over soap.
Soap. Bath soap.
Bath soap. So I say to that person who asked that question, I don't you got a story.
Yeah. If it's in your head, you can put it in lead. Use a pencil.
And you know, your story, what I would like to say to those who may be thinking about this project, your story can be a blessing to someone else.
That's what we're
Yeah.
hoping.
That's the
Yeah.
purpose
Yeah,
of
that's what we're hoping.
commitment to the covenant. How
Yeah.
couples learn how to ignite each other's fire. That through it all, that all of the ups and downs, and we're still doing the work.
You
Yeah.
never learn everything.
Yeah.
It's all
I like that. I like that you're sharing that. And I have
Yeah.
to ask you this question. What happens when there is no commitment to the covenant? Because there are those who go into marriage, they didn't really think it through. And there's really not that commitment, not mentally anyway. It's a going through the motions. I'm married, but you know, you're still living a single life. You're still doing the things you still want to hang out. You know, I'm not saying you can't have a boys' night or a girls' night, but when you're still behaving as if you're single and not respecting the covenant of marriage, you know, I'd like you to address that.
You just answered the question. You just answered the question.
How did
You're living as if you're single. You're not committed to the relationship. You know, you just answered that question.
And I would say to that is I today, and I'm referencing
Yeah.
my pastor because she preached out of she taught out of Ruth this morning,
Yeah.
and I pardon me that if she's listening and I didn't remember the title of the message, but it basically meant that sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong
Wrong
time.
time.
And
I heard
and
that.
yeah, she was saying that. And but it doesn't mean that God still can't bless it. And sometimes we just outright marry the wrong person.
It's true.
And that's more 9 times out of 10 that you
It's
figure
true.
after 2 or 3 years, this ain't the right. And that's the point of it. Commitment to the covenant. How couples learned how to ignite that fire, because you really can be like, this was a wrong move. But he might be like, you know what? I've always said my mother and father got divorced. I'm not getting divorced, so I'm staying
Yeah.
here. You have worldly people. You had, or you have a woman who may say, well, I ain't going nowhere. We in this, just gonna have to duke it out. We gonna fight it out. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I got these babies now, and I grew up without a mother and father, or I'm not, or I had a mother and a father. So sometimes you have to just work it out. And
Yes.
then there is an out, and it's the big D word that we don't like to talk about.
Yes.
That is divorce.
Mhm.
And we try to put the word divorce up there, that, Lord, if we get divorced, we are not going to make it in heaven. God said he did not like divorce.
Right.
And I'm not here to preach to get into that, because I don't have my scripture to back up
Right,
one way or the other.
But he told
But
Moses.
it doesn't mean that if you're in an abusive situation,
Right.
or like you said, I've got a husband who is, or a wife who is living who's in this marriage, who is living a complete single life, you just have to make personal decisions for yourself. And
I
I
agree.
said at the very beginning, Michael and I came from previous marriages. And we had to go before the Lord as individuals before even like, okay. But we came from previous men. We got to spend some time with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to go before the Lord about what you say about divorce. And Lord, can we be forgiven? And can we do this again?
Yeah. Bree, you mentioned that sometimes people just get into the wrong relationship, but they do that at a very young age.
Okay.
But sometimes you just like my wife has referred to being hot in the britches. You just get into something not knowing what you're getting into, and then eventually you find out, oh man, it's that donkey that I didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that situation where you. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Well, nonetheless, if you get into a bad relationship, it's typically because you're either young or you're ignorant to the fact, but when you come into the knowledge, or you learn what you really want or how you think you should have life, then like we did when we first started talking, I'd like to use the phrase, be brutally truthful.
Yes.
Be brutally truthful, about everything. And that way you give you lay yourself out on the table when you are brutally truthful. And then that person can see it for themselves. And real brief, my wife said she met my ex-wife before she knew me. She had learned the situation of my previous marriage before I'd even said anything.
Okay.
So I didn't, not that I would have lied to her, but she saw for herself the truth.
Yes.
Brutally truthful and honest about everything.
So that's why I say, I was thinking about our title is complicated, in a good way. And we're all a beautiful family. We're a blended family. It's and it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always easy. But there was a beautiful love that we had between us, and it was very organic and it was very authentic. And as my husband said, that we were brutally honest in our hours and hours of conversation, because when you first start and you meet someone and you first start dating, you're on the phone for hours.
Yes.
We used to sit and talk on the phone for 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was still in the military and he had to be at work at 6,
7.
But we were talking and talking. I think it was a while before we even had our first date. We talked and we talked and we talked, because I was that single woman.
Yes.
And my daddy was my daddy, and my mom had passed. And I had just had the opportunity to care for my mother for several years prior to meeting Michael. My mom passed, and then maybe 2 years later, I met. So, I was young. It's so funny. If I'm going to share this with the audience, and I'll let you finish, but I was 36 when I met Michael, and Michael was 42. He'll be 69 on Tuesday, and
Oh,
I'll
wow.
be 63 this year.
Wow.
And we just get tickled about where has the time gone, and
Yeah.
and who we are today and who we are back then.
Mm-hmm.
27, 28 years. So if I could turn this around really quickly and say to the audience that, you're partnering with someone. We're committed to this project.
Yes.
We're committed to this book.
Yeah.
We're committed to us. We're committed. We have a beautiful covering over us through I Believe God Ministry. We're going to do things with integrity, because there is an investment involved.
Yes.
And we're going to be here. We're going to show up. I'm already putting a second layer in place that if it was anything ever to happen to me or my husband, there just been a situation that I partnered with someone to help my granddaughter with going to college. She's scholarship mama,
Yeah.
was her business. And just out of nowhere, she
Passed away.
She passed away this past
Wow.
week.
Wow.
And so I say that to say that we have to look at anything could happen. And Bree, when people put their money involved, they want everything from you.
Right. It's true.
And I'm just being candid. And that's what the interest call will be about, that we will lay everything out, as we say, from soups to nuts. And I think it's just a blessing. It came in my spirit. This is not about a get rich scheme or anybody trying to.
Right.
I've been in 3 anthologies. I just think this is going to be for years to come. I'm more excited about this book than I've ever been. And not because Mike and I are the visionary authors, but it is going to be a book that I'm going to be able to stand on, a book that we're personally designing with a designer, and all of those things that we wanted to speak, not to just me, but I wanted to speak that every couple that partners with us in this collaboration will be proud of the cover, that it represents them as a couple, all of those things that, we're really thinking through.
And they will have the story to leave for their grandchildren.
Yeah.
And their children,
Yeah.
and children.
Yeah.
Children. I mean, look at history now. How much can you say about your grandmother or your great grandmother or even your great great grandmother?
It's true.
So
I mean, it's true. Well, I tell you, I'm wishing you guys great success with this endeavor. I would love to have you back once the book is published. You have an open invitation to come back and share with us. And I just wish you all the best. So I'd like to ask you both, do you have any closing thoughts?
Give me a kiss.
Oh, I'm not kissing you on here. Come on.
Give me some sugar. Come on. Give me some sugar.
Whew. No, I just want to say thank you so much for being such a gracious host and for being such a lovely woman. I was talking to my husband today, and let me look at the time, and I was sharing with him that one of the gifts that I have that a lot of people don't know about is that I have the gift of discernment. I don't talk about it a lot, but I can sit here with you and smile and grin and read you up and down. And I can honestly say, Bree, that you remind me almost of my family. You're just such a beautiful soul. And I pray that one day for you, sooner than later, that you will have the opportunity to experience the love that you so deserve, because you are that beautiful, sweet, wonderful woman. And I have quite a few women in my life who are single, who desire to be married. and they just glean so much from us as a couple when we're not even trying. And then I have so many married women, so many friends who are married, that I tend to gravitate to. And so my thought is, join us on the interest call.
Yeah.
And if I'm talking to you and you're a married woman, connect with every other married women. I tend to gravitate on the side, not that I don't have single friends or anything like that. And I have beautiful single friends and great integrity and wonderful and women of God who want, a husband or just all of those beautiful things. But I've learned that that staying close to my friends, who we all are married women, we all iron sharpens iron, and our conversations are not about our man and my husband. We are beautiful wives, and we're beautiful women who have learned to be women of God with integrity and be beautiful wives to our husband. And we all have beautiful husbands and amazing husbands. So I would say to your audience, and likewise for men to connect with other men who are husbands, who are good husbands, that they can glean from, because we all don't get it right.
It's true.
We don't,
Fellowship provides, keen ideas and ways to improve.
Yes.
Someone might teach me how to put rose petals on the floor and bring my wife some chocolate, chill the wine, or, put some music on or something. So, fellowship promotes.
Yeah, because there might be a man say, "Oh, I ain't never think about that." I don't.
Right, it's true.
They say, I ain't never done that. It's like, you've been married 5 years. No, she said she don't like flour, but then you learn. Like, oh, you do that? Yeah, I do this, man, and I've done. So if your wife don't like flowers, what about like when men talk among men, they learn from each other.
Yeah, it's
when
true.
we talk among women, we learn from each other. And we all come with different gifts.
That's true, and that we learn from each other.
Yeah,
we definitely learn from each other. So to the viewers, I hope that if you're interested, that you will reach out, and I'm looking forward to this book coming out, like I said.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us today. We really, really appreciate this time to be here. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Anytime. I've told you guys before, you have an open invitation. So just let me know when you want to come back.
Very good. All
right.
Take
care, guys. Have a good evening. God bless everyone. And I'll be back at 7:00 with Andrew. Take care.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Evening. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.